weakness I want to highlight from Alliance's draft that I hope they take into game 2 is you have Bloodseeker, OD, Magnus cores. Who exactly rotates and does stuff in the first 10-15 minutes of the game? And you just have this Queen of Pain and the Shaker, very obvious, very straightforward rotation type heroes. And I want to see something from Alliance that it just, at least in this case, as opposed to last game, Jug is a hero that kills towers as opposed to Bloodseeker. So Jug, even if they don't necessarily have like natural kill potential, if they have good team fight or just the ability to group up really well, they can just sit behind their Jug as it hits towers.
All right, let's recap in terms of game 1 for anyone that missed it. The Abra and the Rubik same picks, Mag same pick for Alliance. This time around they've taken the Jug. It got banned out in the second phase last time around, and they've banned the Morphling, Alan, in the opening this time. So no
no second phase Morph Earthshaker, but you worry a little bit about a hero that featured in the last game, that being the Shadow Demon. Great against the Juggernaut. There are just plenty of anti-magic, anti-spell immunity options left for Virtus.Pro in the second phase.
I'm already liking Alliance's draft. I did like their last draft. Like I thought it had a really well-rounded game plan, and then I saw it play out, and I was like, oh, there's not much well-roundedness to this at all, with the too many farmers, too many space takers, no space makers. Something we tend to always highlight in any draft. Right now, you know, since you picked your early farming, like you have your win condition farm, you know what these two heroes are going to do. They can have good matchups as the draft goes on with their later picks to be the heroes that are supposed to create space. Last game they picked the farmer last, which it wasn't really the perfect game for Bloodseeker, and I think the reason why they really wanted Jug here is they realized as the draft went on last game, none of the carries looked particularly better. Like, you didn't go, oh, because we waited until 5th pick to pick carry, suddenly we get this perfect game. So they're more inclined to just pick it second here.
Yeah, I am looking more, until proven otherwise, and I do think they have the talent to work around this, but until proven otherwise, I will look at these Alliance drafts and I will ask the question, can Nico Baby win the game?
Yeah.
And I think that's a tough ask when you talk about a Jug in the first phase with plenty of anti-BKB options left on the table in the second phase. The Axe is already out, banned by themselves, which is nice, but you have plenty of options. You talk about the Shadow Demon, the Winter Wyvern, who's gotten play in this tournament. He's banned in the first phase. You still got things like the Beastmaster, who I think is very underpicked.
I'd mainly look for options that kill the Jug. I wouldn't really try to tank through it. I would try to threaten him from ever walking in. You saw that with OD last game, this massive damage dealer that you're expecting to potentially, like, 3-shot heroes, just gets controlled and is forced to be running the entire time. If you have no way to really threaten Jug in this game, I think his game is easy, even if they have a lot of saves, because he's just going to hit you, and then eventually spin away and healing ward. So I really want the threat to be the way they deal with it on the side of Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, you got to have a way to deal with the spin TP, because again, you know, similar to Puck Whisper yesterday, you get these heroes that can just sort of cut waves with impunity and control tempo in that mid-game phase. You know, that's part of, Alliance has had a lot of good team fight, they've had a lot of good aggression, but that's another part of why their mid-game has looked so dominant here early in the season. They've always looked like they've had tempo control in that 20 to 35-minute window.
This tournament so far, the team whose cores naturally scale to live, like their kit, not their items, but like the abilities they have that make them more survivable as the game goes on, has really been a staple in the team that wins. So that's why I think you and I are both highlighting the fact that this Jug spin cannot, because it's first round, it cannot be an effective survivability tool maybe 25, 30 minutes plus into the game.
Well, we'll see, right? I mean, we've had a number of drafts. The one that stands out to me yesterday is the PL was picked second and was never really countered.
Yeah.
So it's tough as a drafter because you have all this stuff in your head and you have all these boxes that you're trying to check, but I agree with you. And when you say that, right, about the core survivability point, and that's straight math. Man, if you look in the history of Dota, there has never been a time where the ratio of resources gained between core kills versus support kills has been so high. On average, core kills are worth like multiple, like 3 support kills, and that's part of why you can play sacrificially, as we talked about with Abaddon on the 5, but that's why these core deaths feel so much more impactful.
Yeah, they're taking a long time to pick. This is the most vulnerable pick of the second pick team's
That's
draft.
so good.
That does tell you exactly what their roles are, though. I like the hero. It's really good against Jug. It's another save against the Mag. It now makes it a little more complicated. But not only is it a save, but it also threatens the Jug.
Yes,
right?
that's the big thing is that when you talk about Jug and these matchups that he struggled with, the matchups that he struggles with most, I think, are these heroes that can just stand toe-to-toe with them and beat on him. You think about, the Legion Commander is one, the PA is another. These heroes that he can't right-click down. He has to if they ever get in his face, spin away.
One of the major things about Legion Commander in the laning stage is that she's 330 base movement speed, Jug's only 300, and she also has the overwhelming odds, which makes her probably around 360, 370. So you just can't ever spin her. You're not like a threat on her. Not only is she a threat to you once she gets 6, but she also out-trades you because of the passive.
Oh, yeah.
My boy Ursa. I haven't seen this hero in a long time.
Again, what did we just talk about, right?
Threaten it.
How is Jug gonna stand his ground against an LC and an Ursa? You look at what Solo did in the last draft was say, okay, Nico Baby's on Bloodseeker. Who's he gonna rupture?
Yeah.
Now, Nico Baby's gonna be on Juggernaut. Who's he gonna man fight? Who's he gonna man fight here in this VP lineup? You gonna man fight Abaddon, LC, or Ursa? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Invoker or something like that is really important for Alliance. Something that just disrupts this initial jump of the Jug, because if they're able to go on your Jug, they will kill him in, 2 seconds with the Ursa Legion combo?
And I like the Lich here as a lane pick, like that Lich Jug lane, but what does the Lich do without something like a Void? What does the Lich do when you hit that mid-game window?
Yeah, there's no setup for Chain Frost to be a useful spell in this game. Yeah, you have RP, but we saw it with last game, and this game is almost going to be a repeat in the sense that they have so many saves on Virtus.Pro that RP, unless you catch both the Abaddon and the Legion, isn't really going to be all that impactful of a skill. Obviously, since they pick it in the early rounds, you're mainly using the Mag for the Empower. But the characteristic I want to see out of Alliance's 4th pick, like I said, is something that disrupts the Ursa Legion jumping the Jug. Like, not a save. I don't want a hero, because if he gets saved, he's just going to die right after. I want something that disengages. Helps the Jug get away from that initial jump, because if Jug gets Manta Diffusal, the Ursa matchup's really not that bad at that stage in the game, but until then.
All right, I think I'm down with you, because if we hadn't seen the last game, I would still be thinking about the OD here. But I think that is limited for exactly the reasons that you just said.
He's going to get lane countered again, right? That's the problem with OD, is not only is it yeah, it's pretty good against the heroes you see right now, but Ursa threatens your BKB, so that means your BKB is not going to be that good of a timing, and then you're going to get lane countered, so your game's going to be slow. If I'm free farming OD, I'm feeling pretty good against Ursa, but when you're getting lane countered, I just don't feel nearly as comfortable. Okay.
All right. Now,
interesting.
More than likely pushes the Magnus back into that support, that 4-roll position, which again, he pretty much was an Empower bot last game, so I'm all right with.
That is a hero that one of the Brewmaster's main strength is being able to stand in front, force abilities onto him, and then obviously split before he dies, effectively kind of like with Morphling, where you have that second pool of health. I just don't know how I feel about it, because Ursa alone probably likes this lane matchup. You don't have the mischance that you used to have, and you're picking a melee hero into Ursa.
But I think it does go back, though, to what you were saying about having a mechanism for when VP initiates, do you have the ability to reset and control the fight? And I think Brewmaster almost is a desperation pick in that regard. Now, Death Prophet is one of Limp's strongest heroes individually, and when you talk about one of the big issues from the last match was that no one roundly outplayed Limp in the mid lane, and I don't think that is going to happen with him on his DP.
I think you just need a lane pusher in the mid lane, because you have a lot of cores that want to play off map. The Legion doesn't really want to show. She wants to be sitting behind people looking for duels potentially.
Want a DK? You want something that's just gonna, if can trade tower for tower with DP?
Yeah, something like Necro, DK, literally a hero that's going to just walk down a lane and allow his cores to rotate to him. That's kind of the weakness, I think, of Virtus.Pro's draft so far. And when I say weakness, I just mean it's a check mark that hasn't been taken care of just yet.
Or you want to go aggressive in a different way with something like a Pugner?
That would be fine too. It can be a hero that either shoves waves by walking down them, or a hero that you naturally rotate to help push towers in general.
And that's been the strategy that VP has played all tournament long. No one has rotated out of that mid lane much earlier. All right, I like this TA pick a lot. I do think Limp is very confident in this lane. Death Prophet against TA. I think you're going to see him play pretty well. I still like this VP draft a lot, though.
I'm just going to highlight Roche. If VP gets a couple early Roches, you have Ursa, TA, two of the best Roshing heroes in the entire game. Then I think they're going to be able to just take control of the map, and they have really no saves for this DP Jug, and they're just going to run them over off the high cooldowns of Alliance's draft. But if they can manage to make that Roche take 20, 30 minutes to get that second Roche, I think Alliance's late game will pan out for them here.
Look, I think it boils down to what we talked about at the very beginning. Somebody other than Nico Baby is going to have to win this game for Alliance.
And who's that person going to be? Is it going to be Limp? Is it going to be 33?
We'll see.
No saves for a DP. It makes me a little nervous.
Tough.
Okay, all right. Good stuff. We are ready then, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2. Massive game for Alliance. They need to win this one to stay in it, or can Virtus.Pro make it through to the top 4? Let's find out.
An Alliance that is now down 0-1 against Virtus.Pro is now left in a situation that the panelists are saying that Nico Baby is not going to have to be the carry. Somebody else is going to have to win this game for Alliance. Who's that going to be, Blitz?
I think it actually has to be 33.
Okay.
I think he has to have a good laning phase, and he's got to get off to a good start. I think they all need a good lane, though. Like, this game is probably the clearest, like, difference in lineups that I've ever seen. Like, on one side, you have a team that values the very long team fight. They want to make this game go a little bit longer because they want to give themselves opportunities to team fight. On the other hand, you have a team entirely predicated on burst damage. Short cooldown burst damage, long cooldown, long team fight. Like, you have TA, the initial meld hit, Ursa, like, as a carry, he defines burst. Legion Commander, her first dual jump in, like, her follow-up damage is not that good. So this is all going to come down to, like, who gets the start, who gets caught first.
And that is something that BSJ pointed out, not being able to have a clear save on the Death Prophet is a bit concerning against a lineup that has so much burst.
Yeah, they do have so much follow-up, though, on the side of Alliance that can help her out, and they're not relying so much on one hero to start a fight, which I feel like was a huge problem for them in the previous game. This time they've got a DP who will get Yules, they've got a Brewmaster, a Magnus, and I think Alliance correctly read, like, we don't want to put 33 on Mag anymore.
Yeah.
The last 3 times that I've seen it, they just straight up lost in the exact same way, which I'm not used to seeing Alliance lose like that. But losing in literally the same way, every score looked like the same too. It was like 30-6, I think I look back on, and this game was like 28-6.
Yeah.
They just kind of get outplayed around the map, they lose all the space, and then the game just kind of ends.
Do you think Alliance can be a little bit stubborn like that? Like sticking to their ideas?
Maybe, but at the same time, you don't really know like what led you to your success or what was the actual problem.
Right.
But I do think they correctly read, like, if we're just going to have this guy empower and that's it, why not just make him the 4? If that was the plan the entire time, and at least put 33 on a playmaker.
Yep. So Hanskin's going to be taking over that role, and we're going to have a better playmaker for 33 in the Brewmaster, and that's something that I think everyone's going to be happy to see.
Yeah, and I think this mid matchup has to go better for Limp. Last game, he got absolutely trashed, and no one was probably the main reason they won that game. He set such a high pace and tempo. He was in every other lane. He farmed everything on the map. He didn't die once that game. Like, they have to do a better job of slowing down his game.
And this is a bit of a skill-based matchup, right? The Death Prophet versus Templar Assassin.
I have to imagine that it goes in favor of the TA at some point, but it shouldn't be too bad for DP because you can always get the range creep with the Crypt Swarm.
Starting off with a 4-1, relatively even score, but we'll have to see as time goes on the higher levels of Reflection, and Side Blades may change things. Our aggro lane is going to be the Brewmaster and Magnus up against the Ursa and Abaddon. So melee matchups all around, which I have to imagine favors the Ursa. But if any hero can do okay against an Ursa, I'm sure one of them has got to be Brewmaster.
Just because of your Drunken Brawler?
Yeah, Drunken Brawler, just a little bit of extra space. You're able to land a decent amount, like a pretty decent slow out of Thunderclap. Can kind of prevent the Ursa from just running you down all the time.
Cinderbrew is actually quite spammable right now.
Yeah, just being able to spam that. The self-attack chance as well, the higher levels you get. Can be pretty potent laning phase ability. Save is going to be caught by Fada with a slowdown. Hanskin no longer up at that top lane, has rotated down to bottom and has caught this Rubik by surprise, and that's going to be your first blood. 4-position Magnus claims it, who already had brown boots too. He's going to have a very fast arcane boots at this rate.
Yeah, he's actually already a level 2. He's going to find this invis too. That's why he hasn't skilled yet. Maybe if he finds the opportunity to skewer.
Yeah, this could be really sneaky. Skewer back on Resolution into the spin of Nico Baby, who is level 3. So
yeah, that's what he levels up. I think he would have taken Empower otherwise, but he wants that offensive potential. He's going to set this up at bottom lane. Nice use of the invis, but maybe just not enough damage.
Fortunately, not enough damage and no level 3 on Fada, so no Sinister Gaze. Save actually a little bit late there as the Rubik was trying to go and pull a creep wave. He's going to have to wait for the next one. Need to make this lane a little bit better for Resolution's Legion Commander. After all, Resolution has a lot of history as a carry. You can enable his laning phase. It's probably not a bad idea.
And Save's going to stack this up for his Legion. Meanwhile, at top, Solo contesting at all times.
It's just so powerful to have this 5 position that is able to just right-click you with the power of
He's going to skewer
force you
into the
back.
tower.
Really great skewer. A little bit of body blocking, nothing amazing, but Save will definitely die here, especially with boots on Hanskin. Save won't be able to outrun the Magnusaurus unless he can juke him out, but that's a dead end, sir. There's nowhere to go from there.
And that's going to be Arcane Boots already picked up if he wants them.
And at this point, you might just like head back up to top. You can Arcane Boots 33. You can start spamming out some spells against an Ursa.
Yeah, that would be quite the deadly combo. I would actually like to see him go top at this point. The double wave at bottom should make things pretty even here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
he's going to go bottom again.
Okay, he is very serious about protecting Nico Baby's farm and making sure that the Resolution offlane is shut down. No one in contesting for CS is put into a bit of an awkward position. Takes a lot of damage from the Spirit Siphon as a result, and a regen rune for Limp as well.
Downside for them, though, with all this fighting is like, Rezo is actually just getting a ton of levels. Like, he's, in fact, going to hit level 4 at the exact same time as the Jug is. Whereas a top lane, Epileptic Kid already...
Save. He actually gets into melee range of Nico Baby. No slows required. The supports really didn't have to do anything there. Save just kind of missteps, bit out of position, and Nico Baby easily runs him down.
And Hanskin going to pick up another kill. All 3 of his team's early Arcane Boots. He's already got gold on top of that. And look at this. He's queued up the Blink Dagger. He's being very optimistic this game.
Yeah, people talk about like Hanskin because he was a 5 position, you know, like how well is he going to be as a 4? He had to have a bit of a greedier role last season on the final tribe, and ultimately that is where Hanskin believes his skills best lie, is as a kind of greedy 4 position, not as the 5 that he originally was.
Yeah, maybe, you know, he ends up taking that position because of his team composition. He's trying to enable everybody else, and this is where he was just naturally fitted to play.
That's surprised. 33 has done as well as he has for himself. His CS is 18-2, pretty respectable for pretty much a solo lane, and he's level 4. Again, against an Ursa matchup, it's not too bad.
Yeah, Rezo's about to hit level 5. Nico Baby in a similar position, but he's slightly behind in levels once again. And how's our mid lane looking? It is looking so much more even, in fact, in favor of this Limp Death Prophet when it comes to pure denies.
And they already have the Sentry put in place for the level 6. It is all important to make sure your mid laner has a Sentry once those TA traps are out. Just makes the whole laning phase.
It's just so much damage on the trap.
A lot of damage, a lot of opportunity with that slow to get those refraction hits in.
Mid lane 33 has showed up. I'm not entirely sure what he's...
They just hoping to exorcism push with the Siege Wagon, I guess. But this is
like
going to
you
be
just set up a trap.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's done.
Okay, well, there's a little bit of Spirit Siphon, small bit of damage, but Yeah. The Siege Wagon will survive for a few more shots thanks to the glyph. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Resolution is going to run into the two supports here. And Nico Baby's closing in fast. Doesn't quite have his level 6, but is able to get close enough to get the spin. But the extra movement speed allows Resolution to get out. A nice little juke there. Nico Baby not quite fast enough to get in front of the Legion commander.
He's done a very good job of not dying in this bottom lane, considering how much kill potential they have. But once he's level 6 on the Jug, that might be a little bit different. And I really liked your read on that mid situation. I think that's exactly what they were going for with the Catapult and the Brew showing up mid. But he's not playing his trademark Abaddon Legion kind of style. Like, he can't just show up like that, buff up his core.
Yeah.
The Brewmaster being there just takes away XP and makes it even easier for Epileptic Kid to just 1v1 nothing.
Yeah, if anything, Brewmaster he's a little bit more like these Legion commanders who just want to be able to sit in lane for a while. Brew does require a decent amount of farm. Only really rotating once every primal split.
I like what they're doing. They're zoning him out of XP range entirely. Epileptic Kid in this lane, he hasn't tried to min-max every single CS. In fact, half the time he's running past his creep wave to make sure that 33 is getting nothing. Like you saw it right there. He just runs in, trying to slow down the timing of this Brewmaster as much as he can, and so far so good.
TA traps well in place to slow down this Spirit Siphon. If anything, they might be able to with the Telekinesis pull back to the other side of that clip. Limp is going to go for the double Spirit Siphon, but still it's so much damage from the TA with beautiful body blocking from Save. Just absolutely gorgeous.
Read his movement perfectly, and once again 33 came mid, which is going to leave this Ursa completely up here alone. And they're just outmaneuvering Alliance right now. That's why even despite the fact that it is 3-1 and they got the first blood, it's VP that take the gold lead.
Do you agree with how much they're playing around Nico Baby? I mean, Juggernaut is just one of those heroes that isn't easily pressured in the first place.
Yeah, you don't really need to help him out this much. It's not like you slowed down the LC by tri-laning at all.
No.
He's level 6, he's got a Bracer, Phase Boots. His game feels perfectly fine. He's got a good amount of farm.
So if anything, this just came at the expense of the Death Prophet and more likely 33's Brewmaster.
Yeah, and the XP that they're getting right now. Like this Ursa's almost level 8. The Jug, conversely, is just about to hit 6. He's got the same level timing as Rezo. In fact, Rezo will outpace him once he gets this creep wave.
That's so rare to see.
And they're going to make this move down here with the duel. But Nico Baby, very good game sense. Like that is the thing that I noticed about him the most is his game sense. He almost never gets caught in these random like TP attempts.
Yeah. It's not like he has any aggressive vision to be able to show that.
Yeah, he's just reading the map.
They've got a lot of defensive vision in their own jungle. That's about it. Limp is rotated up to top. And Virtus.Pro will try and trade things out with Epileptic Kid. The support Abaddon.
I can see them defending bottom.
Yeah, I mean, this tower is
the Brew down.
Very healthy. You could definitely defend this.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They've got Brew split up. I think they should definitely def this.
They're going to lead with Brew split now. Epileptic Kid has already moved back, and he really wants to catch that Ursa. He's sending out the Storm Panda. Unfortunately, as he goes into the jungle, he realized the Ursa is just too far away. They're going to have to content themselves with just a kill on Solo's Abaddon.
Not the target that they wanted to go on, especially with that early Brew split, but Epileptic Kid read that top was missing, no one showing. They didn't go back to the triangle either, which they do have vision of.
Yep.
The warding situation for VP this game is fantastic.
It is nuts how good Solo, I mean, this has always been kind of Solo's deal, is that he's great at playing super aggressively solo on the side of the enemy map and getting deep vision down. Even better when he's at Abaddon, right? Because he can deny himself, he's got borrow times. You can play even more fearless.
And they're going to play the same game as Hanskin's got 3 levels of the Empower. So when you do have a mag, you're essentially sacrificing this early mid-game damage that most people would get simply for Empower, so that your carry just comes online much, much faster. And we'll see if, you know, for the second game in a row, if this trade is going to be favorable for them, because last game it was a disaster.
Well, this time around, you've got arguably the best Empower target in Juggernaut right now. So maybe this will go a bit better for him as he's going to clear out some ancient stacks. 33 will hold the bottom lane by himself, and they'll give Hanskin a little space at top to get some experience.
I actually thought he was going to get rooted and die there, but
A little scary.
Dire structures are fortified.
More and more heroes rotating to bottom, and 33, he says, it's time to go. They do have that one defensive ward around the shrine area that Red at least save rotating over, so it seems that was just enough information. They're going to start heading towards mid. This is really good movement by Alliance so far. I feel like they are kind of slowly outmaneuvering VP.
Yeah, and that's why Rezo TP's here. He wants the ability to nuke it out. He's got 4 points of overwhelming odds, and they've got the trap in front of the tower. But they did want to utilize Limp's ulti for this.
Yeah, sadly, it was just still on cooldown for another 15 seconds, so now it's up, but now it's too late, because VP have already taken that bottom tower and simultaneously rotated mid.
They did get a pretty good size stack, though, on the Juggernaut, and the pace of the game is getting a lot slower for Alliance, which in last game, it just felt like at this point they'd already lost too much.
And
around, it's fine.
Hanskin was farming top the entire time. Look at that boy. He had Arcane Boots super fast, now he almost has Blink Dagger already.
Yeah. Glad he's decided not to go for the pipe and all that.
Yeah.
It's some form of initiation for your team going.
Those aura items, that can be in the hand of the Brewmaster. You just usually want a bunch of auras on him since they last through the Primal Split on the Earth Panda. So, phase into Vlad's is the first choice for him.
Bottom lane, look at this Fada. Gonna get Orb of Venom slowed, but without any levels of the Earth Shock, very unlikely that he gets killed. And in fact, he's chasing him down. The rest of his team is coming in. The Chain Frost is gonna get laid out.
Oh, Epileptic Kid. Smart little read there, popping the Enrage to instantly get rid of the movement speed slow. He knows that Vana just kind of wanted to run with the Ursa, and Sinister Gaze as soon as one of his allies was close enough for a second.
There's also no other reason he throws out the Chain Frost there.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing around. If the rest of his team isn't flooding in. This is spot time, though, for the
They're going to go back in. Since they missed out on that rotation, his allies have already left, and now Fada is going to be by himself. And they can just easily get a dual win for Resolution, the first one of the game. That'll also be his Blade Mail.
They need to save mid-tower, though. Limp is going to go in for this, pop his Exorcism. I like this move a lot from Alliance. Zone him out entirely. And you'd like to see some sort of rotation from VP to fight this.
It's going to be slow. Resolution didn't have a TP, so he's going to start running his way over. He also doesn't have the mana. But fortunately for him, Alliance have backed up anyway. It would have been a nice timing, because this maxed out overwhelming odds is the best tool alongside Fatebolt for Virtus.Pro to defend towers.
Yeah, they're still playing the make space for the Empowered Juggernaut game. He's got a defusal. Very good timing overall for his items. He's been living in this triangle so far.
Surely we're going to have a fight over those. We've got all of our abilities up. Still have the split up. We've got RP as well as Exorcism.
He's got no one around him. The trap should spot this, though.
Yeah.
Just get your own if you can.
That might mean 3 for VP, depending on how courageous Solo is feeling.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, Solo doesn't opt to go for his at all. Being a little bit afraid here. And in fact, with the trap laid out, I think no one will feel very comfortable about this, which should tip them off to the fact that everybody on Alliance was on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah.
And I think Alliance do want to take a team fight. They've got Chain Frost back up. Their 5-on-5 is very good. They haven't really had the best opportunity to use this split yet.
Maybe they're just waiting on that Blink Dagger. It's finally going to be here, but boy, they got to pick up the pace. Otherwise, we're going to get into that dangerous mid-game where the Ursa and TA start 2 or 3-shotting people. Got to use these big abilities off cooldown. Diffuse the Blade for Nico, baby. Really powerful tool against Templar Assassin and Ursa.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The smoke from Virtus.Pro in response, going through mid and invading the No, actually.
I like this move better.
They're going to try and sneak in a little Roshan here with the melds. They could double stack meld if they wanted to. Or
Courier's gonna run in.
Straight up, but the Courier's gonna run right on by and actually activates the shield just in time. The Brewmaster Primal Split is gonna come out. The Courier does die, but if they can make a good fight out of it, well worth it. They toss the event up in the air to make sure that no one has no saves available, and they can drop Solo down at their leisure, especially with the Skewer back to follow. Sinister Gaze to be able to pull him back a little bit farther, and after this kill, they can go straight for the mid tower, knowing
They can rush themselves. They've got DP ult.
Oh yeah, they absolutely can. With a good amount of damage still left on Nico Baby, thanks to his Diffusal Blade build. Resolution's gonna come in, just throw out one nuke, activates the Blade Mail, hoping that Alliance aren't gonna go for this kill anymore. With Save actually with his spin. Omni Slash is able to finish him off though. The silence onto Epileptic Kid. He could not take the Omni Slash with Save. That little bit of maneuver, it cost them their support, but it did stop Alliance from taking the Roshan.
I kind of wanted them to go for it anyways. Like, it's very unlikely that they want to fight into that Omni Slash and the DP ult still being up.
Yeah. I will say this about Resolution. You know, we were talking about his Underlord game last night, and he's like, hey, I baited a lot of spells. He is really good at drawing attention away from objectives. He did that multiple times around Roshan. He just did it now.
Hanskin, he's got Blink Dagger. He's waiting for everybody to clump up, and they
This
are.
would be massive. Virtus.Pro, I don't think they expect this at all. The Abaddon may be their only saving grace here. They're going to try and go for the duel. They are going to group up. It's going to be a 4-man RP. Save comes in, tries to steal what he can, but they are all grouped up with that spin. Nico Baby not super happy with it, though, because they didn't actually finish off the TA or the Ursa. He's got to be careful of that physical damage. Same goes to Revolution, who's now been silenced up. Won't be able to
Roshan is so low now.
press the attack. He's immediately going to buy back, though. The two cores are still a little bit low, but they have a lot of saving mechanisms that VP are still willing to fight.
Alliance are going to go back in there. They almost have that Bruce split up. Roshan is at 2,000 HP, and I think VP can't really fight this.
Yeah, VP, they're going to break. They're going to say this is not worth it. We've got a Hand of Midas Ursa. That's not in fighting shape. No one was quite low at the time. Solo's going to just try and, well, draw some attention away, but eventually this will be a Roshan. We'll see that beautiful RP again that did in the end win the fight, even if it didn't result in a big kill like they were hoping. Back over into the game, Resolution's been caught outside of the Roshan pit. He did buy back for that earlier fight too, so he's now gonna be dead for 60 seconds.
They're going to lose quite a bit for this. This is going to be the mid tower and the Rosh that goes down. Alliance are just on a roll now. And that's why we wanted to see the Blink Dagger from the Mag last game. You've got to have some way to start that fight, and I really like that they recognize somebody's got to run in to set up for the Mag.
Yeah.
If you ever want to be in a position where your Mag is your only way to start a fight, people will naturally clump up once chaos begins in the team fight.
Yep. They get a duel lock, they all just kind of gravitate towards that hero, wanting to be able to win the duel, quickly get the kill. And now, well, it's been long enough, Exorcism is actually back up, level 2 of it too. So they can still go for this mid tower, maybe even just keep the train rolling and go for the mid tier 2 as well. I wouldn't mind that. I think you are very strong right now if you're Alliance. And especially with that Hand of Midas Ursa, he's gonna be slow in his timings. Epileptic Kid did just get his BKB though. That will be significant when it comes to trying to hunt down this Death Prophet.
He needs a way to get on top of them, though. No Blink Dagger, no drums. Just kind of relying on the phase boots, which he needs another form of initiation. So does VP on their Legion Commander, but Rezo's timing has been slowed down so much by the fact that he had a buyback, and then he immediately died.
That is pretty rough, especially with the Yule Scepter on the Death Prophet. All this mobility. Solo's gonna get caught eventually. There just was not enough space for you to be able to juke away Solo.
Yeah, just completely stone-faced during this entire time.
And he got the deny though. Well played and well worth, but no one. He's just been caught right next to the Radiant Shine with 3 different heroes. Solid disables. They used the Primal Split for that, thinking there was gonna be more heroes, because after all,
the tip.
No way no one could be all by himself, but he was. Except for Save, 33. He's gonna wait until last second of the Storm Panda before throwing out the Cyclone, trying to get as close as possible. And the Rubik should now be dead. Telekinesis and TP away. I think he should have waited just a little bit longer on the Storm Panda Cyclone. But neither here nor there. a whole lot of disables around. He's got Medallion building in a Solar Crest for the Brewmaster, another item to just assist the Juggernaut and Death Prophet in their damage. Make them a lot tankier against the Ursa and TA too.
Still only a 1k gold lead despite the score being 11-12. The Midases and the fact that the TA just keeps chugging along, farming as much as you can. Probably can't fight without the BKB though.
Well, there's your first initiating item. Epileptic Kid has his Blink Dagger, and the second one will soon follow. Resolution just needs 100 gold. So they, as you said, they are doing a good job keeping up their net worth despite being down 9 kills. They're only down 1k net worth.
Yeah,
they're also down in towers, right?
Yes. This looks like the reverse from last game where VP were winning the game, but they didn't have this insurmountable gold lead, but you could tell that the fights at least were trending in their direction. This time around, Alliance, their 5-on-5 is so good.
They have such good 5v5 that they're never letting VP get any sort of trade-offs. Oh, that first initiation of the Blink Daggers. They're going to try and burst down this Death Prophet. She's protected by the Frost Shield right now, but it's not good enough. There is too much damage coming out from this duo. And now they could be Fada as well. The TA is trying to play a little bit of distance, though. He's afraid of the Chain Frost. He did cancel. He's going to be slowed down, and the Ursa will manage to get that kill. Epileptic Kid is now stuck pretty deep, though. It's going to be a 2-man RP. Instantly taken off by the borrowed time of Solo. He's going to leave Epileptic Kid to die as he TPs away, saying that was well worth it. We got a 1-for-2 trade-off, forced all the heroes top lane, and a ton of space now for No One and Resolution to push out lanes.
And he hesitated too long. I actually think you just kill the Lich and then get out.
Yeah.
Canceled his TP at the last second. Nice setup for them. You need your Magnus in place if you want to try to make some sort of counter happen. Because Alliance could read that they were there.
Yeah. Just a little sloppy positioning from Limp, not expecting the Blink Dagger from the Legion Commander. That's your one. Another mistake like that will be pretty egregious. So we head back into a pause game, 12-4, 23 minutes in. A little bit faster pace than last game, but as you said, it feels like we've kind of switched sides, where this time around it's VP with a slightly slower lineup. It will kick up a lot soon, right?
Maybe this is just a VP thing.
Maybe.
Because everybody that plays against them just gets their playstyle like slowed down so much. Everybody just seems to be willing to like trade farm against them.
And it's funny considering that is so different to the previous year's lineup that was so laning phase heavy. They just aim to be able to win lanes, played fast Dota from there, but here, very different lineup that Solo and No One are commanding. Next round of items,
They know he's here.
Yeah, they know exactly where he is. They're going to lay in a sentry preemptively. They're going to bring all their heroes over, start off with the Gold Scepter. They can follow up with the Sinister Gaze, but they needed actual damage to be able to catch No One. Maybe they can still slow him down, though. The Spirit Siphon from long range is going to be able to catch him, and that should be the death of No One. He's going to turn and fight, do as much damage as he can, trying to kill Fada. Certainly won't happen in a hurry, though. A massive kill. TA down for 60 seconds, and an Exorcism that is up.
He was trying to set a trap, but he was doing it under vision the entire time.
Yeah.
He saw Chris Lux play yesterday.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick little get out. Blink Dagger for safe, so a third source of initiation for Virtus.Pro, something that they've been lacking and why they've been kind of getting run over in previous engagements. Now they have a significant chance of being able to grab a hero like a Death Prophet and Brewmaster and burst them down before they have the big typical team fight impact that they do. That Death Prophet just got a lot tankier with the Aghanim Scepter now complete. If he can just, not even the full Shivas, even just a Plate Mail combined with the physical damage reduction coming from the Frost Shield, that's 60%. That will do a lot against a trio of physical damage dealers from VP. Scotty, though, from
Yeah,
Eco
mid.
Baby, have full stat built for him.
And he wants to be as tanky as he can so that he can live through the duel. Just out HP the Legion Commander.
And they're just going to go for the high ground, it looks like. Maybe not committing the exorcism for it, but just kind of poking to see if Virtus.Pro will back up, especially with the Ursa taking that top tower.
Oh, they're going for this right now. I'm surprised because they could just wait for the next Roche, but opting instead to go for the high ground with the catapult. It's about to die, though.
Catapult now being dead.
The rest of the creeps are coming in now, and they're forcing the issue right in front of VP's face. They see that the rest of the heroes are pretty split up.
They're really just going for it. It looks like they're just going to get a tier 3 for free. That's not normal, but Virtus.Pro, maybe they just really believe they could not take a fight. Epileptic Kid does find a double damage, though. Maybe that changes things for them.
Yeah, I think with the DD, he wants his basher. He's probably going to sell something for it. Does, in fact, grab it as Solo knows that they have vision up there because of that.
Yeah, so Solo was trying to force a fight in his own way, you know, just kind of running at the enemy and hoping they'll turn around. But Alliance do retreat fast enough into this high ground area. It's going to be tough for VP to get up there.
He's going to drop his own ward, in fact, just to get rid of it.
Basher for Epileptic Kid.
BKB now on no one. This is probably the timing window that they want to hit to take fights.
But still being surprisingly stoic. VP. Not trying to get too loud, not trying to run around and force fights. Instead are still focusing on that split pushing. Their lineup is very good at getting pick-offs thanks to all that big burst damage. They want to be able to force down Alliance. Yeah, they want to force them apart, right? Not let them do this constant 5-manning.
Yeah, if you go for the 5-on-5, I feel like you will lose on VP. The only successful team fight that they've had was one where they found Limp isolated out by himself. Solo's just leading them on a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
He's just running in circles, hoping that they 5-man after him.
And they are indeed still 5-man, but Alliance, they can just go high ground with this 5-man. The exo being used, and now Virtus.Pro, they are going to be forced into that 5v5. That they
I think they give this racks up and only save if they go for the top one.
Okay.
I don't know if there's enough time for Alliance to take the top one. If anything, you take control of the shrine and you go Roche or set up for the next Roche.
I mean, giving stuff up like this usually says, like, okay, there's a better timing window for us later on to the game. Do you believe that? Do you believe Virtus.Pro has a timing where they are going to be much stronger?
I mean, I'm not sure. It really depends on who you get the fight on.
Yeah.
Ideally, you find it on the Brewmaster and you allow the Legion with the Blade Mail to duel and kill him by herself.
So it's less about a certain item and it's more about just the opportunity. They need an opportunity to present itself for a good fight.
Problem is, TA essentially functions in teamfights as a melee hero.
Yeah.
You have an Ursa and your Legion as your other two cores. So anytime you take a 5-on-5 engagement, you're just priming yourself for RPs. So going for 5-on-5 without vision, you're probably going to lose that. The only way to counteract that is to get this Aegis. Then you don't really care so much.
Round 2 of this one with press the attack maxed out though. The Ursa hits so fast that Alliance are just all of a sudden, wait, what? They were in Roshan? They just took the Aegis and cheese, and now they're going to try and fight. It's actually Epileptic King jumps to the back line, goes straight for Fada, but Fada with a frost shield protecting himself in a big duel. They actually lock down the Death Prophet. And they Slash is going to be able to win that duel, and slowing down no one as well. No one. The melee damage being kited around. Save, stole RP, but it's too late. The cores, almost all of them are dead with the Storm Panda tossing the Ursa up in the air. All of the damage has been negated. Limp will live. Fada will live.
And Fada doesn't even go down, and he was the original target that they all jumped
coming
on.
in for the side, trying to burst down Limp. He's so close. Limp almost dies. 60 HP. A Yule Scepter going down. He needs another round of nukes. He has Spirit Siphon, but they're Spirit Siphoning each other, and it's not good enough. Limp has the ghosts on his side. The Supernatural will win it for Alliance. 19-4. Just a slow burner. VP struggled to find any openings in Alliance's defense, and in the end, Alliance gave them nothing.
Yeah, this time around, the Empowered Jug came online a lot faster. He was willing to fight with his team. That was the difference in the game. Plus, you gave 33 a hero that could just run in and take fights for you. I felt like that was the probably the biggest change that they made in their draft. You can take the mag if you want to run it the same way. Just make it your 4th position. Hanskin did very well for himself in the early game, picked up so many different kills, got the early arcane boots. Very well done by them.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, a good adjustment for Alliance mid-series like this. What are some of the adjustments you would like to see VP?
I would like them to have a carry that either scales better, because the problem is Ursa is meant to win the lane, and you hit this mid-game timing, but then you look over at the rest of their draft, and how do you take a team fight? So if you can't take a team fight, you need to put pressure on the enemy team by having the better core matchups. But Ursa versus Jug, it's not a thing. You saw right there, he goes in on Fada. Fada pops Frost Armor and runs in a circle. Epileptic Kid doesn't know what to do at that point.
Yeah. It seems like their playstyle always looks best when they do have the better late game, and their sort of defensive 5-manning and kind of a little bit of split pushing that they do just abuses the enemy team into making mistakes, that they go into high grounds they shouldn't because they feel compelled. Guys, VP has better late game. We should try and take a fight. And that's where VP always strikes best. So we'll have to see what adjustments VP does make as we head to a game 3.